You're saying that there's a helicopter down in the water?
That 2 helicopters just went down in the Hudson.
Did they crash into each other?
Frantic 911 calls came flooding in moments after impact.
911 operator 129, with the emergency.
A helicopter struck and landed in the water.
Helicopter went straight down, and I'm not sure what happened to the plane.
Okay, so the ambulance is going to be there as soon as possible?
I saw something explode and then something fall after that, so I would hurry.
Witnesses say a small fixed-wing plane approached a commercial helicopter from behind and clipped it with a wing. Both aircraft instantly split apart and plunged into the Hudson River, killing all 9 on board the 2 aircraft, members of 3 different families, including 3 teenage boys.
We simply can't see 360 degrees around us, and consequently, when you've got a low-wing airplane and something below it, and a helicopter that can't see very well above, you've got the ideal potential, shall we say, for a mid-air collision, and that is exactly what happened here.
But many aviation experts believe this mid-air collision could have been avoided, and that part of the problem is a long-standing air traffic rule that governs the flight of many small aircraft across the country. It's called See and Avoid.
The so-called VFR rules, which, by the way, that stands for Visual Flight Rules, are built around the idea that everybody stays away from everybody else. See and avoid, very much like the rules of the road on the sea.
Unlike big commercial airplanes that are in constant contact with air traffic controllers, smaller aircraft during good weather can fly over much of the U.S. without talking to controllers. Instead, they simply look out for one another.
The problem is that this is mythology, the idea that you can see and avoid everybody around you because you can't see everybody around you. That's one of the great fallacies of this whole thing. And it's time that we finally faced it and said, okay, we have to have electronics and procedures to bridge those gaps.
To experience firsthand what it's really like to fly over the Hudson River corridor and to understand how See and Avoid really works, I took to the sky with veteran pilot Paul Dudley, manager for a New Jersey airport. How confusing would it be for a pilot who's not that familiar with this area?
You don't go where you're not comfortable or you're not qualified to go.
How busy can it get, though? How many planes might you hear on that?
No, you hear them all the time, but again, it's like being on the highway. You look down, look at the highway in front of us now. Some days, some people think that's very busy, and others it's a walk in the park. It's just like driving.
We spotted a dozen or so planes and helicopters, all talking to each other through a common radio frequency.
Pier 5 just south of Statue 500 going to Buttermilk.
Okay, now, see, I just heard somebody who's over there by the Statue of Liberty. Okay, he's at 500 feet. You can see him on the display here, actually, on our little display. He's below us, and he said he's going to Buttermilk, which means he's coming up over this way. So we're going to be aware.
But pilots here are not required to radio their position. It's voluntary. The procedures failed on Saturday. This is not the first time. Back in October of 2006, New York Yankees relief pitcher Corey Lytle, along with his flight instructor, crashed a small single-engine plane into an Upper East Side building.
All right, they're closing in. Looks like they've... Oh, we're going to pull out. We don't...
In Phoenix, Arizona in 2007, 2 news choppers collided while covering a police pursuit. The probable cause of the crash, according to the NTSB, both pilots' failure to see and avoid the other helicopter. Debbie Hersman is chairman of the NTSB, which is investigating the Hudson River accident.
We think there are some airspace and certain conditions that are challenging. We investigated a mid-air collision involving 2 news-gathering helicopters in Phoenix, and we made some recommendations about technology, proximity awareness of traffic, alerts, and we made some recommendations to FAA about how technology might improve. We've seen TCAS, collision,
which is traffic collision avoidance systems.
Right, awareness for large aircraft.
See how it pops up on the screen? Traffic. There's somebody coming at us. He's 600 feet higher than us.
Back in our helicopter, there is technology to pinpoint nearby aircraft. It is not mandatory.
See the helicopter all the way up there? See, he is much, much higher than us, and we know this because of the device.
Some experts have recommended that in areas such as the Hudson River, planes and helicopters be required to fly at different altitudes. After the Lytle crash, the FAA banned all aircraft except seaplanes and helicopters from the East River corridor without special permission from air traffic control. That ban did not apply to the Hudson just 2 miles across town.
We will continue to look for all of the aircraft parts. We're going to have to see what we can find.
On the Hudson, the immediate job is to recover the last 2 victims and to bring up the airplane from 60 feet of water. The mangled helicopter and 7 bodies have already been pulled from the river. It's a difficult job, but as this accident and others have shown, the harder task is preventing these tragedies in the first place. For Nightline, I'm Lisa Stark in Hoboken, New Jersey.